Under the grey Parisian sky, the Hôtel de Lassay stands quiet yet charged with symbolism, its grand facade ready to host a meeting that blends diplomacy, history and political tension. Cameras wait outside the iron gates as a convoy arrives. From one of the vehicles steps Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, the longtime face of the Palestinian Authority, greeted by aides and French officials before walking toward the marble steps, where the President of the French National Assembly, Yaël Braun-Pivet, stands ready to receive him. Inside the palace, the mood is formal, yet unmistakably weighted. France, a nation that has often tried to position itself as both a partner to Israel and a supporter of Palestinian statehood, is once again at the intersection of Middle Eastern diplomacy. The meeting comes just one day after Abbas's talks with President Emmanuel Macron at the Élysée Palace, a meeting that sources described as frank, necessary and delicate, as both leaders sought to navigate the aftermath of recent regional violence and the growing humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Mahmoud Abbas, now in his late 80s, moves with slow determination. His visit to Paris is seen by many diplomats as an effort to reassert the Palestinian Authority's role at a time when its legitimacy has been repeatedly questioned, both by critics within the Palestinian territories and by international observers who see the PA's control eroding in Gaza and parts of the West Bank. As he steps into the Hôtel de Lassay, Yaël Braun-Pivet greets him warmly. The two shake hands in front of the cameras, the French and Palestinian flags standing side by side. Their exchange, while brief and carefully choreographed, represents a rare moment of parliamentary diplomacy between France and the Palestinian leadership. Braun-Pivet, who has held the post of National Assembly President since 2022, has often described her approach to foreign relations as firm but humanitarian, a balance between France's commitment to international law and its complex alliance with Israel. In her office, richly decorated with portraits of French statesmen, she welcomes Abbas to the long meeting table surrounded by advisors, interpreters and cameras that quietly record every gesture. The conversation, according to parliamentary officials, revolves around France's role in advocating for renewed dialogue in the Middle East, the humanitarian situation in Gaza, and the future of the two-state solution, an idea that seems to grow more fragile with each passing year. For Abbas, this visit to the French Parliament comes at a time when European support is increasingly fragmented. Several EU states, including Spain and Ireland, have called for stronger recognition of Palestinian sovereignty, while others have hesitated amid shifting alliances and security concerns. France, historically cautious, has tried to walk a fine line, condemning civilian suffering while maintaining strategic ties with Israel. In the meeting room, Abbas speaks through an interpreter, his tone measured yet insistent. Those present describe him emphasizing the urgency of humanitarian access, the need for international recognition, and the Palestinian Authority's commitment to a political path rather than an armed one. Braun-Pivet listens attentively, occasionally taking notes, her expression serious and reflective. As the discussion unfolds, aides from both sides exchange documents and briefing notes. Coffee is served. The atmosphere is calm but carries the quiet pressure of expectation. Paris, after all, is no stranger to moments like this. When diplomacy becomes both theatre and test for France, hosting Abbas at the Hôtel de Lassay is more than protocol. It is a statement that dialogue with the Palestinian leadership remains necessary, even as global attention shifts to the chaos of the region and the rising influence of other actors, from Qatar to Turkey to the United States. For Abbas, the meeting offers both a stage and a signal that his voice, and by extension the Palestinian Authority, still commands recognition on the world stage. His message to the French leadership is consistent with what he told Macron, that the path to peace runs through political recognition, not perpetual conflict. Outside the Assembly, the French press gathers, eager for any sign of movement. Reporters discuss whether France might take a bolder step, perhaps a parliamentary declaration supporting Palestinian statehood, or a renewed push within the European Union for diplomatic recognition. The mood among correspondents is speculative but cautious. Inside, as the meeting draws to a close, Abbas and Braun-Pivet stand once again for the cameras. They exchange parting words. Brief, cordial, but full of diplomatic weight, aides arrange the positioning. Photographers capture the handshake, and the two leaders pose beside their national flags. The Palestinian flag, red, green, black and white, stands beside the blue-white tricolour of France, a rare sight in the halls of French power. For many observers, this moment is more than symbolic. It reflects France's ongoing effort to balance its Western alliances with a moral commitment to human rights and international justice, values that have long defined its foreign policy narrative. When the meeting ends, Abbas is escorted back through the palace corridors, flanked by French security and aides. Before departing, he pauses to greet several members of the French National Assembly, a gesture of goodwill that signals his ongoing outreach beyond presidential diplomacy to parliamentary engagement. Outside, under the soft drizzle of a Paris afternoon, the convoy departs. Abbas's visit has lasted less than an hour, yet the implications are already echoing in diplomatic circles. Analysts on French television call it a gesture of quiet significance, while others debate whether France is positioning itself as a mediator in the next phase of Middle East diplomacy. Back in Ramallah, Palestinian media outlets broadcast the images of the meeting, framing them as evidence of continued international legitimacy and European support. The scenes of Abbas shaking hands with Braun-Pivet and meeting Macron are replayed throughout the day, accompanied by commentary emphasizing France's historical friendship with the Palestinian people. French commentators, meanwhile, interpret the visit within a broader political context. Macron's government faces pressure from both the left and right on its Middle East stance, the left calling for greater humanitarian intervention, the right urging caution and support for Israel's security. The presence of Abbas in Paris, therefore, is both a diplomatic engagement and a domestic balancing act. In quiet diplomatic language, the French National Assembly later releases a statement describing the meeting as constructive and grounded in the principles of dialogue, peace and mutual respect. No specific agreements are announced, yet the symbolism is unmistakable. France remains open to engaging with the Palestinian leadership at the highest levels. As night falls over Paris, the Hôtel de Lassay returns to its usual calm. The marble floors reflect the fading light, and the air carries the faint echo of footsteps and camera shutters from earlier in the day. Another chapter of diplomacy has unfolded. One that may not change the immediate course of the Middle East, but which reminds the world that even in moments of great division, dialogue remains possible. The images, Abbas and Braun-Pivet walking side by side, the tricolour and Palestinian flags aligned, will circulate across networks and newspapers through the night. They tell a story not of breakthroughs or bold announcements, but of presence, persistence, and the subtle choreography of politics that continues even when peace seems far away. In a world where conflict often dominates the headlines, this meeting in Paris stands as a rare moment of civility and symbolism. Two leaders speaking across histories, across divides, and across expectations. Whether it marks a new chapter or merely another gesture in a long, difficult journey remains to be seen. But for now, under the Parisian lights, Mahmoud Abbas's visit to the Hôtel de Lassay offers a quiet, enduring reminder: diplomacy still has a place, and in France, at least, a voice that listens.
Un grand plaisir, merci beaucoup.